Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Tara with Mayhem Crafty Cards, and today I thought I would do a review for you on the InkOn3 Atelier Inks and the Pink and Main ergonomical blending brush. So I wasn't sure about these inks at first because I already watercolor a lot, and you know, you're supposed to be able to watercolor with them. They're reactive. You can use them for stamping, blending, just about anything that you can do with any other ink. And I compare these a lot to my distress inks because I do a lot of my ink blending with them. So I thought for today what I would do is I have all 6 colors, and I thought we would do a little ink blending and kind of compare how they do against my distress oxides. And then the brush, I will be using the Pink and Main brush along with some cheap Amazon brushes, just to see if there's really a difference between the brushes. And so for the paper I'm using, I have 80-pound Neenah Solar White, or I'm sorry, this is 110 pound, 80 pound, and then I have a Vicky Boonton media paper. So we're going to try them on all 3, and I also bring out a watercolor paper just so we can see how they work as a water. Maybe we'll do some ink smushing with them. So let's go ahead and talk about the colors. So this one is Maryland Red. Take the lid off, that way it's not so reflective. Goddess Green. And I'll try to pull some of my distressed inks that kind of match them. This one is Marigold Orange. And please pardon my nails. I have been busy all weekend doing some challenges within our group, within Courtney's group. So it's been a lot of fun. This one is My Jam Purple. Peacock Blue, which I really like this blue. This is probably one of my favorite blues. I think this compares most to like the Mermaid Lagoon with the distress inks. And this one is Bee Sting Yellow. And I really, so far, have really liked this yellow. It's very vibrant. So let's go ahead and try some ink blending. And we'll actually start with the yellow. And I'm going to take my Pink and Main brush. So I love this brush. One, because when I'm not using it, I can pop it into this little stand that it comes in and just set it on my desk and not have to worry about it. It also reminds me that I need to clean it. So it looks, you know, like there's color on it, but there's not. It's just, you know, once I go in with some baby shampoo and really clean it out, I mean, there's no transfer at all. So I really like this one. So let's start with the Vicky Boonton. And we're just going to do just a little bit of blending on each paper just so we can see what they're going to do. So I just take it and rub it around. I mean, you can barely see it. But this brush gives these colors such a soft blend. Yeah, let me zoom in so you guys can see this. Okay, there we go. So it really does. It blends so softly. And I don't get those lines like I get with the distressed ink, like the very harsh, you know, when you go in at first. And I'm barely pressing down on my brush. So here's the yellow, which you know, blends really nice. And this again is the Vicky Boonton. So let's go to the 80-pound Solar White. And we're going to do the exact same thing with the yellow. So the Vicky Boonton is more, it's very thick. I mean, it's a really good media paper, I think. Now see, now you can see that I'm starting to get a little bit of the line that I didn't have before on the Vicky Boonton. And that could just be me though. But I have noticed it a lot on some of my other papers that it does, you know, get that little harsh line. So here's it on the Nina Solar White, 80 pound. So let's go to the 100 pound, 110 pound. So here's the 110 pound, which is crazy because you would think, you know, it would blend great on all papers. But, so here you can see that pretty big blob, and I didn't do anything different. I did the exact same thing on all 3 papers. How I clean this brush is I will get a microfiber cloth and just, you know, run it on the cloth. Sorry, I didn't mean to make the camera shake. Until I don't see any color left. And I'm going to go ahead and do this on my leg because it's easier. That way I don't shake the camera. So see, it still looks like there's ink on there, but it's really not. Okay, so that was the Bee Sting Yellow. Let's go to the Peacock Blue. So again, I'm going to do the exact same thing. Just kind of rub my brush around a little bit. And let's just go to this corner. Now see, with the blue, I do get a little bit of harsh lines, and I literally barely even, you know, put it to my paper. I'm doing the exact same thing, excuse me, but you can see, and I must have put my hand in it right there, but you can see these little, like, splotchy parts of the blue. So let's do the same thing on the 80 pound Nina. Ink up my brush again. And it looks like it's going to do the exact same thing on the Nina. So I'm not sure why it is. It seems like it's just with the blue that it does this. So let's do the 110 pound Nina. And all papers are not the same. I mean, you might get an excellent blend on something that somebody else is struggling with. So see, you can kind of blend it out a little bit with the Nina, but it's still there. You still see those little parts on the blue, like right in here. And I did the same thing I did with all the others. So let me clean my brush off. And sometimes what I'll do too is I will mist a little bit of water on my microfiber towel, and especially with the purple and some of the other darker colors, and even with the distress, I do the same thing. So you can see I still have, it still looks like I have ink on my brush, but I don't. There's going to be no transfer. So let's go into the green, and this is the Goddess Green. And we'll start on the Nina 110 pound. And I'm going to do the exact same thing I've done with all of them. So the green has a little bit, but it's not as bad as the blue. I mean, it's just very, very, very slight. So it's not nearly as bad as the blue. So that was the Nina 110 pound. Let's go to the 80 pound. So there's a little bit on the 80 pound, but it almost looks like you can blend that one out a little bit more than the blue. So there's that one, and you can see kind of right in this area where you can see that green. So let's move on to the Vicky Boonton. And I'm going to try to avoid this spot, but, you know, it is what it is. I must have put my finger in the paint, or in the ink. So you do get a slight bit of blotchiness with the Vicky Boonton as well. And I don't know if it's just some of these brighter colors. Like, I haven't tried it with the red or the purple yet, but so far it seems to be the blue and the green. So let me clean this guy off. And since I did use the green, I am going to go ahead and mist a little bit of water on my microfiber towel and get rid of some of this. But the brush is phenomenal. I mean, I love this brush. I do use my little Amazon brushes for just if I have like smaller areas, or if I'm doing something like super intricate. But other than that, like this is like hands down one of my favorite brushes, and I'm probably going to order a bunch of them. Like, luckily my birthday, you know, was last month, and my husband and kids kind of surprised me with some of this stuff, so it's pretty nice. I'm glad that they did it for me. So let's go ahead and go on to the red, and this is again Maryland Red, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So this is the Vicky Boonton. So that red just goes on there beautifully. So I really think it's the formula in the blue and the green. But then again, I mean, I could be wrong. That's just from my perspective of it. This is the Nina 80. I mean, look how smooth that is on the Nina. And now let's go on to the Nina 110. Uh-oh, got my finger in it. So there's the Nina 110, and maybe it is just the color, because on all three sheets, I mean, it blended so nicely. Okay, so let's go on. I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush again. And normally I don't clean it this much. I just kind of go in, you know, color order. But I wanted to test these out so it wasn't so much in a rainbow order, but just so that we can see how they blend on different paper. And I do have to say, they blend really well on the Canson, or the Bristol, but I am out of Bristol right now. So, okay, so let's go in with, let's go in with the purple. And then we'll save the orange for last. So again, this is my Jam Purple. And we'll start on the Nina 110. So see, it looks like it's got color in it, but it doesn't. Do the exact same thing. Where are we going to come down? We'll come down to this red because it kind of has a pink tint to it. So the purple is much lighter than you would expect. And it does, you know, you do have a little bit of splotchiness on the Nina 120. So let's go to the Nina 80. So you can see on the Nina 80, I mean, I've the exact same movements. You still get you get that blotchiness again. So let's try the Vicky Boonton. And yeah, you can see it on the Vicky Boonton as well. So it looks like the purple works pretty well on the Nina 120 or 110. And not so much on the 80 or the Vicky Boonton. So on for less color for the ink blending. And at the end, I'll show you which ones I think mesh well together. Mesh, you know, pretty well with the, oh, use your words, the distress inks. And having, you know, I use so little water. I mean, it's a fine mister on my spray bottle that it doesn't affect the brush. Now, if you were to go in and deep clean it, then yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to wait a couple hours because the bristles are just so dense. So this is Marigold Orange. And this is on the Vicky Boonton. And it just blends so nicely. It's not as bright as you think it would be. I mean, you'd have to build this up pretty well to get a super bright orange. So there it is on the Vicky Boonton. Super nice blend. Now let's go to the Neenah 80. I was going to try to keep this review short, but I feel like it's important to kind of see how everything works and, you know, have a good review. I mean, you know, these were all purchased by us, so nobody, you know, obviously sent them to me. So it does really well again on the Neenah 80. Let's go on the Neenah 110. So maybe it is just the blues, purples, and reds. Or, I'm sorry, the blues and the yellow on the Neenah 120. Or 110. I don't know why I say 120. But that orange blended very smoothly on all three sheets. So let's go ahead and we're going to put the blending brush away. And we'll do a little ink smushing. And what I'm going to do is just going to flip these guys over. Because paper has two sides and, you know, why waste paper? So let's see. What colors do I want to do? Let's do red, orange, and yellow. You know what? Yeah, we'll just do that for the first one. And these the red does stain a little bit. So let's go ahead and smush this guy down. Oh, so it's very, I mean, you get a lot of ink in these. I kind of forgot how much ink you get. And we'll do the orange. So I'm just going to go ahead and spray a little bit of water. And I'm just using my Tim Holtz white mat, the little mat that comes with the cutting board. Oh geez, one of those days. Okay, so this is the Neenah 120. And now this is not watercolor paper. But it did pick it up very well, you know, pretty well. Look how bright and vibrant those colors are. And I probably could have sprayed a little bit more water. So that's the 110. Set that guy aside. I'm going to spray again. This is the 80 pound. And still, I mean, look at those colors. And now the Vicky Boonton. So one more time. And this Vicky Boonton is multimedia paper, so it can handle a little bit of water. But look at that. So you can also use these guys to watercolor. So let me clean my mat off. And we'll smush a couple colors down. See the red? Now the red does stain a little bit. So I will usually go in with a little squirt of alcohol and water mixed together. And that usually takes it right up. Okay, so now that our mat's clean, I'm going to flip it over just on this side. And then you can see the blue also stained. So we're going to go in. I'm going to grab some watercolor paper. Which I do. Give me one. Okay, so I just went ahead and put the colors on my mat. And I just have a watercolor brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I have some Canson watercolor paper. So it picks up really nicely for it being an ink. So let's go with the orange. So the only thing is, okay, that I've noticed is that they don't blend. That was a big blob of water. They don't blend. Like if you get a line like this, it's not gonna blend out. So let's go in. Let me pick up some more orange. Let's see if we can do it this way. Throw it my blob. I mean, they are pretty colors. Let's go in. Let's go in with the green. So, I mean, they do, oh, cross-contamination. So if you don't, like, the yellow mixed really well. So the orange and the green just kind of blobbed on there. And that could just be my technique that I'm using. Like I said, I'm just using a water brush. Let's go in with the blue. Yep, that's all it was. My brush was not wet enough in the mixture. So see, there's the blue. We'll go back in with that green again too. The green and the orange. I'll go ahead and drop some water down from my water brush. So let's go back in with the green. There we go. Alright, so I can just ignore those two. So if it's not wet enough though, that's what's going to happen, is you're going to get those, you know, really harsh areas. Let's go back in with the orange. So they do watercolor very nicely. I take back what I said. You just have to make sure you have enough water with your brushes. Let's go in with this purple. And then with the red. So yeah, as long as you have enough water mixed in with your inks, then you should be able to watercolor very easily. So yeah, that's, I mean, the colors I picked out from my Distress Oxide collection, which is not very big at all, that I thought matched the best were Squeezed Lemonade, Picked Raspberry, Ripe Persimmon, Seedless Preserves, Mowed Lawn, and then Mermaid Lagoon. So I thought those ones matched up fairly equally with the InkOn3 Ateliers. Whew, that's a mouthful. I would say overall, I really enjoy using them. It has to be the right paper though. I'll show you real quick with these Amazon blending brushes. Now these aren't as dense. They look dense, but they're not as dense. They're pretty soft bristled, and the handles aren't very, I mean, they're pretty flexible, so they're not very dense in that, you know, in that sense. So let's go in, and I'm also going to squirt some water on these as well, so you guys can see how they react, like the Distressed Oxides do. I'll spray some water on here so that they don't stain my mat too badly. So I just grabbed my Jam Purple, and I'm going to go in with this blending brush. And you see it just kind of glops it down there. Even if I would have came from the side of the page, it just doesn't give as nice as a blend as the Pink and Main one does. Like I said, I only use my makeup brushes. I use these ones, these little teeny tiny ones, because they can get into really little areas that my big brushes can't get into. But even still, like I have to be very careful with these because it does just kind of blob down. So would I buy my inks again? Absolutely. Would I buy the Pink and Main brush again? Hands down. I can see myself purchasing a couple more of those. So Pink and Main has them on their website. Brutus Monroe. I believe Simon Says Stamp also has them on their site too. But I will link below wherever I find them posted at. I don't know. It's just it's a game changer for me because I do have trouble with my hands, and I appreciate the design that went into the Pink and Main brush. It's very easy to use. It doesn't hurt my hands, and I really enjoy the blends. So yeah, well, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate everybody taking the time to check out my video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.